What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to dive into Scanner Cop, released by Vinegar Syndrome on 4K, along with Scanner Cop 2. But today we're just going to be covering Scanner Cop. Hopefully soon we get to Scanner Cop 2. So let's take a look at this, open this up, look at the packaging, everything like that, go over the features, and talk about the film. So stay tuned. Alright guys, let's take a look at Scanner Cop. This is the first one of the set here. It does contain the second film as well, which we'll hopefully get to at some point. I do want to watch that one after watching this one. Here is the packaging from Vinegar Syndrome. Here's the back of the slip cover. I do love how they're individually slip cased along with being in that box. Here are your disc, your 4K, and your Blu-ray. And you do get the option of reverse cover art. I'm going to stick with the one with all the little guys coming out of the forehead because that's just really cool. So Scanner Cop came out in 1984. It was directed by Pierre David, who actually worked on quite a few David Cronenberg films, including the original Scanners as a producer, worked on The Brood, worked on Videodrome, things like that. So he definitely knew what he was doing going into this one as the director. And this film stars Daniel Quinn, who plays Samuel Stasiak, who is a cop who, as a young child, witnesses his father being murdered by the owner of the apartments that they're living in. Has a couple cops come to the apartment to arrest him, calm him down as he's freaking out and can no longer control his scanning abilities and things, and he's just really losing it. And I'm not going to give away too many spoilers just yet. There will be some later on, but I will forewarn you guys when that comes. But that's how the story gets rolling. And one of the cops is played by Richard Grove, who later becomes the commander of the police department, Commander Harrigan. You guys might know him from Army of Darkness, Point Break, Money Train. He's been in a lot of films and TV shows, very familiar face, and he pretty much takes Samuel in as his own child after his father passes. He doesn't have any other family or anybody to stay with or anything, so they raise him. He later becomes a cop as well, like I said, and then he moves to the commander position. His father does, his adopted father, and from there, we get the storyline really takes off pretty quick. You have a couple people that are wanting to take out the police department and using kind of a Clockwork Orange type method to do so. They knock them out and they wake up and they're in a chair, and they put the image of what they want them to take out along with something that they fear. And they flash back and forth and back and forth. Their eyelids aren't propped open like Clockwork Orange, but they're, have this thing over their head and stuck in this chair and they can't move. But to me, they could shut their eyes. I don't know. That's my one real main complaint with this movie is there's nothing holding their eyelids open. But anyways, so they want it to trigger to where they see a police uniform or what have you. I'm not going to spoil everything, but it does change throughout the movie of what they're wanting them to see and make them think it's something else. So when they see a police uniform, they think they're being attacked by a creature or an insect or something that is their real darkest, deepest fear, and they attack it. And they just use this mind control and everything. So that's the main premise of this movie. At the same time, the character of Samuel is trying to suppress his scanning abilities, the gene that was passed on to him by his father, and he really doesn't want to use this, but he is asked by his adopted dad, hey, we really need some help on this case. Can you stop taking these pills that help suppress this and help us catch who is responsible for doing this? Once they find out who's responsible for doing that. I'm not going to spoil, again, everything. That is played by Richard Lynch, who is someone who used to be a doctor and kind of went insane back in the day. And some things happened to him. He was locked up in a mental institute, and he did actually get shot. I'm not going to say where. Again, I'm not going to spoil everything just yet. And now he is out for some kind of revenge or something like that, and trying to take out the police force. So, Richard Lynch, you guys might know from Rob Zombie's Halloween, Invasion USA, Death Sport. He's in a lot of things as well, and he has a sidekick with him as well. I totally spaced it on her name on writing anything down, but you do have another character in here who is Dr. Joan Alden, who's kind of helping Samuel with this with his scanning abilities and things, and trying to keep him in line and not get too far out there as he's scanning one person to try to find out who the killer is, who's really behind all of this. He does go a little bit too far in one scene, and she has to kind of stop him and, like I said, kind of keep him on track, kind of keep him keeping his shit together, really. And she is played by Darlene Flugel, who is another one who unfortunately passed away in 2015 at only 64. She was in To Live and Die in LA, Once Upon a Time in America, I think Lockup with Stallone, and a bunch of other movies. So a lot of recognizable faces in this film. The special effects on this are actually pretty damn good too. For the low budget that they had, this wasn't a theatrical release. This was a straight to video. I think they said they had a cast and crew screening of it, but other than that, it was a straight to video release, so the budget was pretty small on this. But the effects are done by John Carl Beckler, I believe is how you say his last name. But if you guys look up his resume on IMDb, he has done effects for so many well-known horror films, especially in the straight-to-video genre, but even like Reanimator, Hatchet, Friday the 13th, 7, The New Blood. Just, I mean, the list goes on and on. The movies that this guy has done effects for, and has been in the industry for a long time. It was definitely a name that I recognized going into this. When I saw he did the effects, I'm like, okay, these are going to be pretty decent. I'm not going to say he's as good as like a Tom Savini or something like that, but he's a very well-known name in the special effects, especially practical effects area. So, and I will say there is one scene in here where you get some stop motion animation, which is pretty rare for a film from like the mid 90s area. That's not really used much anymore in that time frame. So I was very impressed with that. I love stop motion animation. I mean, yeah, it looks extremely fake, but I just love the way it looks. I think it's just so cool, and it takes so much time and effort to do stuff like that. But anyways, back to the movie. All right. So once they find out who's doing this, of course, Samuel is, on his tail. And the thing is, when the doctor got shot back in the day, he got a metal plate in his head. So to be able to scan him is not something that is easily done. So he tries to scan him through touch. He has to grab his hand and be able to do it that way. And that's when you get your main effect of like the veins and everything like that is during that scene. And it's pretty well done. And they do talk about some stuff in the features, which I'll get to here in a second. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with this film altogether. Like I said, they get a hold of different people. They kind of kidnap different people in different positions depending on what they want them to go after. So they want to infiltrate the police force, so they're going to get a hold of the janitor and make him see things that aren't really there to be inside the police station and take out cops. There's a time where they wanted them to go plain clothed because they figure out, hey, they're targeting police officers. And then there's a police badge showing, and they figure out, oh, they're going plain clothes. Let's take the badge and make them think that that's something else. That's going to be the next trigger. So everything the police department is doing, the villains are realizing what they're doing, and they're going that next step. And it's a really good fucking movie. I'm gonna be completely honest. I thought this movie was gonna be cheesy as hell and just stupid. I mean, it's called Scanner Cop. What is that? I mean, this is gonna be terrible, right? No, it's actually a very well made film, very well directed. The acting is pretty solid all around, and I really had a good time with this movie. I mean, I was invested in this thing the whole time it was on. There wasn't really dull moments or anything like that. Even when there was scenes of just conversation, I was intrigued by what they were saying and what was going on. And I just recommend the shit out of this movie. I'm going to try to make this review pretty short, and again, not go into too many spoilers. We'll talk about a couple here in a second. But I highly recommend picking this up. If you guys are on the fence about picking this setup, and I hear the second one's even better, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. As much as I enjoyed this one, and the second one's supposed to be better, that's just awesome. But yeah, if you guys haven't grabbed this yet from Vinegar Syndrome, definitely jump on their website, pick this up. The 4K transfer is absolutely gorgeous. I will say there is a little bit of light flicker in a few scenes, especially at the beginning of the movie, and then like maybe halfway through. But the outdoor scenes especially, they pop like so good. They look absolutely amazing. And there is some grain on a couple scenes, but that doesn't really bother me too much. It is an older film, so yeah, I just can't recommend this set enough. I can't recommend this purchase enough, and that's pretty rare that happens for me on a boutique label release. So definitely grab this. It's well worth the money, the investment, and definitely add this to the collection. Now, actually, before I get to spoilers, let's talk about the couple special features. So on here, you get a commentary track by We Hate Movies podcast, and you get Outside the Law, the Scanner Cop Revolution Part 1, extended making of documentary featuring interviews with producer, director Pierre David, actress Hilary Shepard, actor Mark Rolston, actor Richard Grove, special effects artist Ted Hain, special effects artist James Rowland, stunt coordinator Jeff Pruitt, director of Scanner Cop 2 Steve Barnett, and screenwriter of You're Next Simon Barrett. Original promotional video, commentary track that I already mentioned. So yeah, you get I think it's like 22 minutes of a kind of behind the scenes look at Scanner Cop, and a variety of different people talking about the film, which was pretty interesting. I can't wait for part 2, which is on Scanner Cop 2. Yeah, so let's move on to a couple spoilers. I want to talk about one thing in this movie that really grabbed me, what really made me love this film. I did give this movie 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, and did a written review on there. And so if you guys don't follow me on Letterboxd, definitely do so, because a lot of times I'll post on there before I post on here, and sometimes I write reviews on there that I don't review on here. So anyways, there's a scene where, try not to give everything away, but I do want to get into a couple spoilers, where Samuel is pretty much taking someone's life and needs to get inside her mind to figure out where the main bad guy is, and he goes into hell with her, basically trying to find the main villain, Carl Glock, being the doctor that's behind all of this. Now, when they go into that scene, this scene is very fucked up, very disturbing. Honestly, it's kind of like something out of like a Hellraiser film or something like that. And you do get a brief scene of nudity in here. Nothing like that's going to turn you on unless you're really into that kind of fucked up shit. But I really dug this scene where they're in this insane asylum, and it's it's their hell that they're in. It's not obviously real, but it's pretty disturbing scene. And I always love, I know I've said this before, I love movies that are based around institutions, insane asylums, things like that. I just think it's very fascinating, especially what they did back in the older days and things. But anyways, that scene is just awesome. That really made this movie for me. I mean, it was good up until that point, but that was really the icing on the fucking cake to include this scene. And I will say too, the effects, again, going back to when Carl Glock is shot and part of his head is removed by the bullet, and later on with the scanning of the hands, the metal plate comes off of his head and it just like blows up, kind of like from Scanners. You had to have a head explosion, and there's a head explosion earlier in the film as well. So effects wise, I was pretty impressed. Again, I was pretty impressed with the effects on this. Again, I knew by seeing who was in charge of the effects on this movie that they were going to be at least decent. And like I say, for the budget they had on this, I was just kind of taken back by how well things were done. They definitely used all of their money in the right ways. So, yeah, that's the main spoiler I wanted to give, though, was the insane asylum scene, because it's just awesome. So again, guys, I definitely recommend Scanner Cop. Getting this set with Scanner Cop 1 and 2 from Vinegar Syndrome, absolutely just blown away. I guess Scanner Cop 2 is actually known as Scanners the Shakedown. On here it says Scanner Cop 2 the Shakedown. So, let's just drop that anywhere. It didn't go far, so it should be okay. Anyways, so yeah, that's going to do it for this review, guys. If you guys like this review, let me know, and let me know if you're looking forward to my thoughts on Scanner Cop 2. It's kind of sad that a lot of people involved with this movie kind of died young, 58, 66, that they didn't live long lives. I hope it wasn't anything to do with being in this movie. Hope they didn't get scanned or something. Wow. So, anyways, as always, guys, peace, love, happiness to all of you. I will catch you all next time. Later.